Now on News 12, a campaign kickoff in Yonkers.
We don't win because of me alone. We win because of all of us.
Congressman Joel Bowman hopes to continue to win over voters in his bid for re-election. We take you inside his campaign kickoff tonight.
A former Westchester County correction officer on the other side of the law. Investigators say he was part of a home robbery. And
honoring education.
I'm just super excited to be a finalist.
Some Hudson Valley scholars are close to landing a competitive talent search.
And the competition heats up in the kitchen. Meet the Hudson Valley chefs named semifinalists for the James Beard Award. News 12 starts now.
And we are following breaking news this afternoon on reports of a fatal bus crash in the Hudson Valley. Take a look here. The crash happened on I-84 in Wawayanda. That's near exit 15 on Mountain Road. Westbound on the bus were students from Farmingdale High School on Long Island. Multiple first responders and rescue crews are on the scene at this hour.
And News 12's Blaze Gomez has been following the breaking details from that busy crash scene. Blaze, what are we learning right now?
Well, the latest information that I'm getting from my sources on the ground is that, unfortunately, the bus driver may have been the person that died in this horrific fatal incident. We'll take a closer look at what the scene is here now, since first responders have, for the most part, left. You can still see a medevac helicopter on I-84 westbound with some police lights off in the distance. Certainly that bus, as we've been showing you the images of it where it landed on the side off in the ditch, is still there on its side. It is imagined that it will take quite some time to get that bus out from where it landed after it rolled over and ended in the ditch here off of I-84 westbound. Now, what we've learned from our sources is that one person has died. Again, we're being told that this was the bus driver that unfortunately died as a result of this crash, and that 5 people were critically injured, possibly some of them young students on board this bus. As we've been reporting, these are students from Farmingdale High School that were headed to Pennsylvania for a band camp. We're told by our emergency sources that there were as many as 43 people on board that bus that were injured, and certainly this is just an unbelievable, horrific tragedy. We've seen Governor Hochul responding, saying that she sent special personnel from the state here to help first responders with this horrific ordeal, with this horrific accident, and she has issued her thoughts and prayers to the community and parents and everyone that's been impacted. So this is an incredibly developing situation. We know that parents are headed to meet with their kids at reunification centers, that these buses are heading home to bring kids back to
sometimes coming on
these latest developments
as
they unfold. That's the latest here in Wawayanda. Blaze Gomez, back to you.
All right, Blaze, thank you for the latest there. We want to send things over to Diane Caruso, who's live at the Reunification Center at Orange County Community College right now. That is where families are hoping to connect with their loved ones. Diane, what are you, Diane, are you still with us?
Correct. I am. Yes, hello. I have some important updates for you. I'm at the SUNY Orange campus.
Okay. All right, having a little bit of difficulty with her microphone. We'll get right back to Diane with that information. She is at the Reunification Center in Orange County. That is where some of these kids from Bus 1 are going to be reunified with their parents, those who were not injured in this rollover accident.
Also, grief counselors, we're told, will be there as well. The families are making, many of those families are making a trip from Farmingdale, Long Island, or Long Island, all the way out there, which is about a 2-hour drive, we were told earlier, and obviously there's traffic. They are getting a police escort, so hopefully they will be reunited as soon as possible. Right now, speaking of Farmingdale, we want to send things to Krista.
We're going to go to Krista McNally. She's at Farmingdale High School. Krista, what are you hearing there from anybody at the scene?
Well, that's right. We are now hearing that buses 2 to 6 are going to be making their way back here to Farmingdale High School, and that is for students that were following that bus that went to the embankment. It was on the other buses. They are, going to be making their way back. We did see a couple parents come down here so far, and they seemed very, very flustered. We also have been speaking with people. Now, a lot of these high school students extremely, extremely upset to learn that one person has died, 5 others in critical condition, and over 4 dozen or just about 4 dozen others are injured at this time. We spoke with one high school student that said he found out while he was in class today, and he said that he was immediately very upset because he's on the football team, and one of the members of the team was actually on that bus. He was happy to find out that his friend is okay. He also was receiving some pictures that he showed us, extremely graphic, of students with blood covering their entire face. Now, they were awake and aware, but obviously it looked like they were hit in the head at some point and they were covered in blood. Again, the students that are not injured are going to be making their way back here to Farmingdale High School. We also spoke with several people here on the scene. I want you to take a listen to Donna Balch. She was a teacher for 23 years at the middle school, and her niece was actually on the bus that overturned. Take a listen to what she had to say.
It's terrifying. These kids, you go on a trip to have fun and go, this is something they look forward to all year. And these poor teachers, these chaperones, I don't know, I'm hearing mixed things. We don't know if they're okay. So right now we're just praying. These poor kids, these kids are going to be traumatized for the rest of their lives.
I'm sorry, my apologies. Her niece was actually on one of the buses that did not turn over, but still a very scary situation, as any aunt, parent, family members knows. The kids go on these trips and you hope that they get home safe. We are going to be here throughout the night, and we will bring you the latest updates from Farmingdale High School as they become available. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Krista, thank you. It's such a shame for all of these families.
Yeah, and that is the hope, as Krista said, that your children get to where they need to go safely. All right, Diane Caruso is live at the Reunification Center at Orange County Community College right now.
Yeah, families are hoping to connect with their loved ones there. Diane, what have you seen and heard now?
I've seen those 2 through 6 buses actually behind the physical education center here at SUNY Orange in Middletown. Those buses that will eventually make their way back to Farmingdale High School from this trip. Those students behind this building were getting off, going into the facility, stretching their legs according to the district, and also reuniting with family members and just taking in what they can and getting together. That's according to the Farmingdale School District. We've also heard the uninjured students on that bus that was impacted in a part of that crash will also be here at the Phys Ed building on the SUNY Orange OCC campus in Middletown, and they will be reuniting with their family members here. Here on the campus, they have signs here for not only the students but also the family members. They're calling it the Family Support Services, and they have signs all over the campus to direct these families to where they need to go to reunite with their kids and see how they're doing. Again, there's going to be grief counselors here, we're hearing, and other support services for those kids, and looks like those families impacted by today's crash. While I was here early before families are getting here and those buses were here, I also saw the SUNY Orange campus staff bringing things inside these doors, including a mobile device remote station, so these kids and even family members and whoever was on those buses can recharge their devices and connect with loved ones. That was going in through the front doors. I saw some cases of water bottles going in and out. There was a large truck here too, and law enforcement here are keeping this area clear to make sure everything goes smoothly for these families and these kids who have just gone through so much today. We're going to be here, and I'll be sure to give you updates on what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. We'll send it back to the studio. We're in Middletown. Diane Caruso, News 12.
All right, Diane, thank you for setting the scene there. It really is all hands on deck. People are pouring in prayers online and physically bringing water, whatever they can do over there for those students that had to go through this today.
We want to go right now to Jonathan Gordon. He is in Port Jervis at Bon Secure Hospital. Jonathan, what are you hearing there?
It is at this moment of sort of hectic scene at the emergency room here at the hospital in Port Jervis. What we've sort of been told is that it was a triage situation, that some of the students, it appears maybe some of the students that did not need to be taken to a trauma center but still needed to be treated are being taken here. And so really what we have been watching is throughout the last hour or so, we've seen different ambulances kind of pop up and bring people in. We've seen a large nurse and medical presence right at the front door. Almost as soon as people come in, they are bringing them right inside. Also noticed a little earlier on, and it's hard to see now because there's now these screens that they put in front, but they had almost these essentially wheelchairs ready to go and lined up, as well as right in the front of the emergency room. They did have a computer to take information from people right away. The Westfall ambulance, at least this one, we've seen come back and forth a couple of times. The last time just dropped off some gear. Before that, we saw a couple of people get out of some ambulances. Westfall's just on the other side of the border in Pennsylvania, maybe about 1.5 miles, 2 miles from where we are right now in Orange County. So again, you talk about just the size of this response. That is sort of what we're getting. We've continued to sort of check in a respectful way to get a sense of what is going on at the hospital. Not getting any numbers at the moment, but we understand that it is a developing situation. We understand that they are tending to a large amount of needs, and essentially from just general experience, when you have these triage situations, it's an all hands on deck. You are trying to assess who needs what type of care, where can you send them to, and so it really does take an entire hospital staff to get through that. So that is what we are following here at the hospital. Of course, it is a very active and ongoing scene. We'll continue to bring you updates throughout the evening. It's the very latest here in Port Jervis. Send it back to you.
And there's a very important reason why, as you heard Jonathan mention, these kids were less injured. We have Kevin Vesey standing outside of Westchester Medical Center. That is a level 1 trauma center. So you're talking about a hospital with totally different capacities. Kevin, what have you heard there?
Yeah, that's right, Katie. So this is the kind of hospital where the most critically injured people would typically be brought to during a mass casualty event like this, and that's exactly what's happening right now. In fact, moments ago, we saw a medevac helicopter coming in for a landing here at this hospital. What I can tell you right now is that 3 patients are being cared for at the moment here at Westchester Medical Center. We still do not have the ages or the conditions of those patients, but again, this is a level 1 trauma center, which tends to typically care for the most critically injured people. Other patients from that bus crash are being cared for right now in hospitals in Warwick, Middletown, and as you just saw, Jonathan, in Port Jervis as well. When this hospital got word of the bus crash, what happened was a code triage went into effect. Basically, a code triage means that 50 to 100 clinicians all spring into action at the same time, descending on the emergency department that includes physicians, surgeons, and nurses. Let's come back live here to Westchester Medical Center, and my photographer is going to get a shot of that medevac helicopter. That was the helicopter that we just saw landing a few moments ago, and it's taking off right now, presumably after dropping off a patient here. So we're going to speak with the hospital spokesperson and try to get an update on the numbers and also the conditions of the patients who are here as well. So the Nassau County executive, he put out a statement saying that the families of affected students are receiving a police escort. We do know that there are some families of victims here at this hospital right now, and clearly a very tense time for them as their loved ones are being cared for and they're waiting for word on their conditions.
And these details are just getting more and more harrowing right now. New York State Governor Kathy Hochul now responding to this tragedy in a statement that we're just getting right now, saying, quote, "I've been briefed on the tragic incident in Orange County involving a bus filled with high school students. At my direction," she says, "New York State Police and the Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services are on site to assist local emergency responders." She says, "Our hearts are with all who are impacted by this horrific situation." Joe.
We're going to come to the Alert Center right now, actually, because there is just so much going on, so much. You heard from Governor Hochul, but so many other politicians from across Long Island, state government, federal government, local, Long Island and Hudson Valley reacting right now to this.
WGAL News 8 begins with breaking news.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, July 27th. I'm Jerry Gish.
And I'm Lori Burkholder. Let's begin with breaking news. We're following 2 breaking stories from overnight. First, a deadly shooting in York City.
Let's go to WGAL News 8's Matt Barcaro. He is live in York with the latest. Matt.
Good morning, Jerry. Yeah, we have limited information about what's happening here in York, but the scene is still active. This is on Green Street, and what we're looking at is Homer Alley. That is where a shooting happened overnight. The call came in a little after midnight, around 12:30, and the coroner was called here as well. One person died in this incident here. You can see there are still plenty of police officers here in the alley, and there are multiple evidence markers on the ground as well. We were starting to see some of the officers begin to start to collect some of the evidence that is here. Now, we don't know what happened, and we don't know who died, but this still is an active investigation, really only a few hours after the call came out that we are right now. So we'll continue to monitor this and let you know if anything changes on the scene. Whatever happened appears to be over, and now it's just the investigation phase, which is underway as we are standing here right now. We are live in York with breaking news this morning. I'm Matt Barcaro, WGAL News 8.
Thank you. Let's get to our top story here. And the search is still underway this morning for Robert Ficosa and his 2 daughters.
Police say the fired Baltimore County police officer abducted his children and is now on the run, possibly with the help of a fellow officer. WGAL News 8's Caitlin Smith has the latest on the search from the breaking news desk. Caitlin.
Jerry and Lori, state, federal, and local law enforcement agencies are all still looking for Ficosa and his daughters and possibly another woman whose car they believe he might be traveling in. They're looking for a black Lexus GS 350. It has Pennsylvania tags. There you see it on your screen, KPK 2076. That vehicle is registered to Tia Bynum, a now suspended Baltimore County police officer and a close friend of Ficosa, according to investigators. They believe that she has played a role in the events that have transpired over the last 4 days. So police say Ficosa abducted his children on Sunday after assaulting their mother at his home in Windsor Township. There was no sign of the 3 of those people, though, until Tuesday. That was in Red Lion, when police say Ficosa then held a woman at gunpoint and stole her car and cell phone. His 2 daughters were with him.
I want them to approach him. We would rather you call 911 or your local law enforcement agency to address that. This is not, because of his prior experience as a police officer, it's not somebody that we want a citizen to approach and try to do, be a good Samaritan on this.
York Area Regional Police are asking for your help in this case. If you do have information, you can also call this tip line.
Welcome back, everyone. Races heating up in the 2023 general election. You're watching News 12. I'm Kevin Marr.
And I'm Nikita Ramos. It is 11 o'clock right now, and some races are already being called, but some still hanging in the balance as we speak, as the votes are still being tallied late into the night. So we are right now checking in on the race for Clarkstown Town Supervisor George Homan, who is now speaking at the podium. Let's listen in.
Race in Clarkstown. You need the support of a good chairman, Lawrence Garvey. And Lawrence, I want to thank you for your friendship and your support.
Where Mayor Mike Spano has actually won an unprecedented 4th term, calling that race over there where Nadia Galindo is right now. Nadia, we just heard from him. What are you hearing right now at the camp?
We'll get to that in just a moment, but as you can see, it's an early night here in Yonkers. They're already breaking down the podium where just moments ago he gave a victory speech. It appears that Mayor Spano has cemented another 4 years as the mayor of New York's 3rd largest city. We had a chance to speak with him right after that speech, but as we've been reporting all night, this run was made possible after the city council voted to extend term limits, allowing that run. He won the Democratic primary with nearly 70% of the vote. And it appears voters like what he's done over the last 12 years. While the official count is still underway, it appears he's beaten his Republican rival in the race, Councilman Anthony Moranti. And the other candidate on the Working Families Party line, Allison Abramson. Mayor Spano ran this campaign on a list of his accomplishments, which include improving graduation rates, bringing in development, new construction housing containing 10% affordable housing, and the waterfront has seen a major revitalization. And of course, Yonkers is now nicknamed Hollywood on the Hudson, and that is because of all the studios coming here like Lionsgate. Take a listen now to what he had to say right after declaring victory just a few moments ago.
No matter who we are, no matter where we've come from, no matter what our background, we're a wonderfully diverse city.
And he says the next 4 years, there's a lot of work left to do. He said he's going to be focusing on making Yonkers a place that other cities in the state and around the country want to model after. Now, another history-making night happening in New Rochelle, and that is where we find Tara Rosenblum. Tara, what's going on there?
Hey, Nadia, thanks. I've got more reaction now from the big winner in New York's 7th largest city, the mayor-elect, Yadira Ramos-Herbert. How did that sound?
It's so surreal, but I'll try to get used to it.
So when we spoke last, we spoke about your Republican opponent, Louis Trangucci. I asked you if you'd heard from him. You hadn't at that point. Have you spoken yet?
I've not heard yet from my opponent.
What are your message to his supporters who did not pull the lever for you in the ballot box today?
Absolutely. My goal is to represent all of New Rochelle, and so I hope to learn from what concerns they might have had and work my best to represent all of the issues in a forward, progressive way.